This is my favorite topic. I was working on about during the 90s and later. And it's dealing with strength mismatch wells. Here we go. And doesn't seem my signal. Wrong stick. Now, what is special with what I call strength mismatch welds? Number one, as everybody guesses, the microstructure is inhomogeneous, which is nothing new. Then we have, this is important aspect, we have strength or heat strength mismatch between base plate and weld metal. This is the key point. And we have residual stresses, which we will ignore here, because what I'm presenting here is all in fully plastic conditions. And in fully plastic conditions, you can forget about residual stresses. And then we have also weld imperfections, which we will also ignore. And we have toughness variations across the weld seam. And this can also be substantial. Now, I'd like to show you a few pictures with some experiments we did many years ago. We tried to create model welds. So we had a ferritic steel, two ferritic steel plates, which were welded together with an austenitic electrode. We have two well-defined different materials. And then we did tests with maximum heat affected zone. It's not, you can kind of see. This was the base plate here, the other base plate, and here is the austenitic weld metal. And in all cases, we had the crack with the heat affected zone. The heat affected zone is on the ferritic side, and the heat affected zone is usually something that is brittle. And the idea was, the crack can certainly run along the brittle zone, of course. It searches for the crack path of lowest energy. The crack didn't burst the paper. The crack deviated into the soft, high toughness austenite, has much higher toughness than the heat affected zone. And so this was a bit disturbing, and we didn't understand it. You have a sketch here. It shows better than the micrograph here. In all cases, the crack deviated down here. So how can that be? This is the high toughness material from the brittle area into the then came the click came later. It took some time. Another example, which is not as good to see, but here this was here the carbon manganese steel was power beam welded, electron beam welded. Here you see the two base plates, the fusion zone here. And power beam welding of ferritic steel leads to extremely high strength and low toughness fusion zones, zones, due to the rapid cooling. Okay, so you have a weld overmatch of about factor of 4. And also in this case, the crack ran into the high toughness base plate. Whoops. And here on the left-hand side, this is aluminum base metal fusion zone. Again, this one, what kind of alloy? No, it's not here. The fusion zone is much softer than, has much higher toughness than the base plate, because the base plate is hardened, age-hardened. Once again, how can that be? Is there a little ghost in these specimens? What's the bother? You really, we didn't understand what happened. And final example. There was a series of tests on the bent specimens with cracks in the heat-affected zone here, and for the wet metal was produced in different conditions. I'm explaining these symbols in a moment. So in this case, the wet metal had a yield strength which was only 54% of that of the base plate. Here it was almost even matched, and here you see that the wet metal had a yield strength that was higher by 70% than that of the base plate. But here the crack path deviation didn't matter, at least it wasn't looked at, because these experiments came before the other ones. And what also shocked us was that the toughness, although the crack was located in the same heat-affected zone, was totally different depending on the weld metal. I guess if the crack at least partly deviated. So this then came, like I said, there came the click. Welders are usually materials experts, and they think in terms of materials, material properties, strength, toughness. But usually they know little about fraction mechanics. And now comes the point. In linear elastic conditions, the crack driving force may be in terms of K, or J or delta, whatever it is. And in the moment of failure, in the incident of failure, we have the critical value Kc, or we have J, which is Jc, or we have delta, which is delta C. The left-hand side was just taken for granted. We have calculation formulas which you could use to calculate this, that. This wasn't done as, if you don't have the delta 5, you have to calculate it. This was taken for granted. And then, you know, came the point. When I compare a crack in a weld metal whose strength is different from that of the base plate, with a crack sitting in the base plate, then I will have to account for the distribution of deformation. So this is supposed to be a welded plate. This is weld, W is weld metal, and B is base plate. And when the weld metal here I'm drawing the strain distribution for a given applied load. When the weld metal is much softer than the base plate, then here we have the strain axis. When the weld metal is much softer than the base plate, then in the base plate we may have this strain here. But with the weld metal, a much higher strain. Okay. And the reverse is true for a weld metal which is harder than the base plate. Now, define the plastic properties as follows. Sigma, I didn't use RP 0.2, I must confess, is a bit confusing. I love my previous symbols, sigma sub capital Y, which is yield strength, which can be anything, sigma RP 0.2, RP 0.1, or whatever it is. So as a general symbol, and further subscript for weld metal, and the stress strain curve as a power law is given by epsilon raised to an exponent of 1 over n over common W. So n is a number between 0 and 1. So usual steels have 0.1, 0.15 as a Hardy exponent. And then we have also for the stress strain curve for the base plate, sigma y v is given by epsilon. Please add the subscript w here, add the subscript w. The same for the base plate, so just different subscripts. And now we define a mismatch factor, capital N. M is the yield strength of the weld metal divided by the yield strength of the base plate. This is the mismatch factor. And if M is greater than 1, then we have overmatch. If M is smaller than 1, we have undermatch. Or even match when both quantities are the same. And the welders usually try to receive overmatch and then U by. Because apart from fracture mechanics, if failure would occur, then it shouldn't occur in the weld metal, but somewhere else in the base material. Because everybody has known for a long time that the weld metal is usually, with its properties, worse than the base plate. So failure should not occur in the weld metal. That's why people try to achieve overmatch, which can be easily said. It doesn't work in H-hardened materials due to the reasons that I explained yesterday, and it is hard to achieve when high-strength steels are welded, because you need an electrode which gives higher hardness or higher yield strength than the base plate, plus what one has to keep in mind. When you buy a steel, this is number of achievements, and here's the yield strength. Usually you buy for minimum strength. It's usual, you purchase a steel that has a minimum yield strength of 500 or 650 or whatever. And the minimum means, when it's better, when it's higher, then it's better, of course. Of course, not. And you have normally a distribution, okay? And now you have to achieve overmatch. So your weld metal must be harder than this one here. And now if you have a steel with 900 or 1000 MPa yield, it is not so easy to find an electrode. And in particular, if it is on the upper end of the distribution, so your weld metal may be somewhere here, and you can end up with undermatch, which is not wanted. Just by the way. Now, coming back to this issue here, I have developed a model which I'm presenting tomorrow morning, which correlates for fully plastic conditions. The delta 5 is proportional to, somehow proportional to the applied strain. Now you will immediately see the clue. The strain for an undermatched valve. For an undermatched valve, we have a much higher strain as compared to here in the base plate. So if I would compute my driving force on the left-hand side with the applied strain, then the driving force within the soft zone is much higher than that in the high zone. That leads to quite fast deviation. So it's the driving force which can override or overweigh the higher toughness of the softer zone. Okay? So in fracture mechanics or in failure in general, we have to remember that we have an equation. We do not just have the toughness of whatever it is. We have an equation. On the left-hand side is the driving force. On the right-hand side is the resistance. Full stop. This is a design principle. When you do classical design based on stresses, you have applied stresses, which are the driving force, and you have the resistance, which is either endurance limit or creep strength or whatever it is. Here you do it automatically, but frequently it's not in people's mind automatically anymore. So please, we have an equation which has the left-hand side and the right-hand side. And that was the clue. And so this gave us motivation to do a little bit of theory, that which was later expanded by two postdocs, one from China, the other one from Korea, who had done wonderful, wonderful work. So this is the reason we have a concentration effect for undermatch and a shielding effect with overmatch. So that's why people like, apart from cracks, like overmatch to protect the weld metal from excess or from high plastic deformations. Plus, we always have weld defects, you know, like a fusion, or you have root at the weld root, you have may have a little bit of a notch or whatever, and these areas should be shielded. So this is why people try to achieve overmatch. Now, continuing here. This is again here, the left-hand side, the correct driving force. On the right-hand side, you have the resistance. And we will see that the mismatch can have huge effect on the correct driving force. By huge, I mean an order of magnitude, which is normally not in people's mind. So, here I have given you 3 sets of stress-strain curves. Here we have undermatch because the weld metal lies below the base plate. This is overmatch with the weld metal above the base plate. But here we have a crossover, which can happen. I mean, we have done a lot of experimental studies, really a lot of work, and this crossover can happen. So undermatch can change to overmatch and vice versa, depending on the hardening properties. And we will see in the diagrams that I'm showing you that this really matters under high degrees of deformation. And the right-hand side is a bit confusing, I have to admit. Undermatch here, the red one just means the weld metal. And the brown color here, the fascist color here means the plastic zone, which is confined to the ultimately, I hate this color, I can't tell you. I didn't lose it. And here this overmatch. Of course, we also have a small plastic zone here, depending on the degree of mismatch. But interestingly, a lot of plastic deformation occurs here in the base plate. Remote from the crack plate. Once again, the definitions. The mismatch factor and greater than 1 is overmatch, smaller than 1 undermatch, equal to 1 is even match. Again, the stress strain curves. This is wrong here, I'm sorry. Because usually I have the strain on the left hand side, and that's why I have the reverse of the, sorry. You know, we have a saying in Germany, when you work, you make mistakes. When you work a lot, you make a lot of mistakes. So there's always an excuse. Okay. Now this is something that I have to explain tomorrow. I want to go into details tomorrow. But I think I have to touch upon it here. So this is the way we measure delta phi, once again, and I have developed the engineering treatment model as a method for calculating the crack driving force in terms of delta phi, but also in terms of J integral, but it's not of interest here anymore. And the idea is that here we have a stress strain test plotted in double logarithmic coordinates. Here is the linear mastic, the Hooke's line, and before we reach the formal yield strength, there's already a little bit of plastic deformation, so there is some degree of non-linearity. And what you see here at a double logarithmic plot, and the quantities are normalized by their yield values, which means that we have 1 here. Mathematically, this is not 100% correct because the logarithm of 1 is 0. But here, this is why I have hidden the logarithm sign, not written it directly at the quantity. It should just say, sorry, but this is logarithmically scaled. Okay? For everyone and everyone. And in a tensile plate with a crack, we have the CTOD here at this point and at this point. And under fully plastic conditions, when we are beyond the yield load, F sub y, then all the material points here should follow this stress strain curve. What else can they do? Now you may question the sense of a power law equation. Again, this is a model. You can draw power laws with any kind of stress strain data. You know, it's always possible. You do a fit, and then you have continuously hardening materials such as H-hardened materials. It is relatively easy. It is questionable when you have a steel with a long Newton's plateau. Then you have to find something else. Okay. Now, so this was the idea, and down here we are in the region of linear elastic fracture mechanics. I'm confident that I can deal with everything here up to the yield point using linear elastic fracture mechanics, including some plasticity correction. And so we can go up to this hinge point. It's kind of a hinge point, and from there on I can extrapolate into full plasticity, just using the straight line with the slope of n. That's the idea. That's all. We don't need finite elements. Like I said yesterday, I'm fond of simpler ideal models. So this is what is predicted to happen, and I can tell you, I've done this validation on a number of materials. I've done it myself, and I used plots of the stress-strain curve. And in the same diagram, I plotted measured delta 5 values. And at the end, you can't distinguish. Okay, the model says that the normalized delta 5 is proportional to the applied force raised to the power of 1 over n. It's just here the stress-strain curve, strain is replaced by displacement and stress by force. That's all. That's all. Don't need anything more. I'm skipping this here because now coming back to this situation here. Once again, we have a mismatched plate. This base plate is assigned its stress-strain curve. The weld metal is assigned its own stress-strain curve. And for both partners, we can predict. We can predict the delta 5 is a correct driving force parameter. I've made a number of assumptions, particularly for thin sheet. I've been working on lightweight structures from the very beginning, so we had lots of collaboration with NBB, Messerschmitt Böll Kuglom, the thin German aircraft manufacturers, and Airbus, and also some other people. And so I started with problem of thin sections. So assumption was plane stress, a short crack or a relatively wide plate and a crack that is short as compared to the width. And the crack driving force is calculated as a function of the applied strain, as a function of the applied strain in the base plate. Because designers don't think in weld metals. And when I have the applied strain in the base plate, I can predict the strain in the weld metal. I simply stack both materials. At the interfaces, I have the same stress, so I equate the stresses and resolve for epsilon in weld metal. Okay. And then I calculate the delta 5 in the weld metal and the delta 5 in the base plate, and I do this quotient, and in order to see immediately the effect of mismatch. Normalization is always a very interesting and far-reaching tool, but it can be confusing in the end. In your mind, you have always to convert it to absolute values, you know, so it can be a bit confusing. And yeah, it's that simple. Oops. This is the general diagram which shows delta 5R, the ratio, as a function of the applied strain in the base plate here, normalized by yield strength in the base plate. Here is 1, here the base plate becomes plastic. Here it's still linear elastic. Okay? Here it's still linear elastic. And here the ratio is 1, which means that there is even match no mismatch. The driving force in the weld metal is the same as in the base plate, so nothing happens here. But when we go to undermatch, of course, the weld metal becomes plastic before the base plate becomes plastic. Here is one which is referring to the base plate, okay? And here the base plate, the weld metal becomes plastic. And so that has to, the delta 5 has to increase accordingly from here to this point. I can predict this point by this simple equation. And then also the base plate is plastic. So both partners, it's a compound material, macroscopic compound material. And I think the same principles can be applied to microstructures with this match. And now hardening comes into the play. The delta 5R, you see, depends on the hardening ratio of both partners here. So it's getting a bit more complicated, but it is based on a simple model, just stacking the two stress strain curves. And once you have the strain in the weld metal, you can do everything. Everything. And that's the beauty of analytical models. You see relatively quickly how the parameters enter the problem. With finite element, I have nothing against finite elements, of course. Just, you know, finite elements results are usually more precise, more accurate. But when you do a finite element result, you get a single run, you get a single result. In order to scan over a certain space of parameters, you have to do run after run, and if you're lucky, you see the laws behind it, and with analytical models, you see how it works. And then you can, if you're not happy with the result, you want to have it more exactly, you can at the end do a finite element model. So, if the base plate hardens stronger than the weld metal, then the mismatch becomes even greater here. And the weld metal hardens stronger, then undermatch can even turn over to overmatch, depending on the amount of strain. And vice versa in undermatch here. The nice thing here, you can calculate these hinge points here. So you can quickly get, and here also the turnover points, you can quickly get a feel for the overall picture. Now I'm showing you the last diagram, and I will interrupt here and switch back to yesterday, because I've discovered on my memory stick, I have a presentation that I gave last year at an ASTM EASY symposium, and of which I would like to show you a few slides. A concrete result here. I've done the calculation now for this case. The weld metal hardens a bit more than the base plate, and this is the hardening exponent of the weld metal, 0.15. So this is given. Now everything else can then be plotted here, and this means here, this ratio means that the curves go always upwards, have a positive slope due to the hardening effect. And let's take 30% undermatch, 30% undermatch, which is little. And here the weld metal gets plastic, whereas the base plate is still elastic. But here this strong increase, this skyrocketing here, seizes or stops the base plate, becomes plastic. But nevertheless, you have a positive trend. What you see here is with 30% undermatch, you have almost an order of magnitude greater driving force. think of the right-hand side of the equation, toughness. When you vary toughness by microstructural manipulations or whatever, thermomechanical treatment, you are happy to when you achieve 50% increase in toughness, which is a lot. As compared to an order of magnitude increase in the driving force. And that's why it shows immediately, I think without any further thinking, why in our first example the crack ran into the high toughness austenite. The austenite has a much lower yield strength than the base plate, and accordingly a much higher driving force, and so the explanation is there. Not only qualitatively, but you can do it quantitatively. Once again here, overmatch can switch over to undermatch depending on the amount of plastic deformation and on the amount of mismatch. But you see, overmatch has also a good effect here. The driving force goes down to about 0.3, so it's 17% lower, so it's also okay. I want to see here. Okay. I want to stop here and continue tomorrow morning. I'm sorry for that, but I want to switch over to the other thing that I was just mentioning. And here we go. If you allow me, I would like to take this kind of presentation here because for me it's easier to navigate here. I don't want to show everything, but I want to start with coming back to fatigue crack propagation, what you've seen this morning, I have developed a predictive equation for dAdn as a function of delta K, and all these things here are plastic properties, plastic and elastic properties, strain hardening exponent, yield strength, it's not in your handout here, yield strength, Poisson constant, once again here, modulus of elasticity, this is a little bit strange here, n raised to the power of n divided by 1 plus n raised to the power of 1 plus n. And now this gives the S shape here. I subtract the threshold from delta K, and the prediction is the original prediction was the second power of, because it's based on plastic deformation, the crack developing displacement, and which goes with the second power of delta K. Now from this delta K I subtract delta K threshold, and here this is the factor, this gives me the upshoot of the crack propagation rate when delta K approaches the fracture toughness. So this is the equation here. It looks a bit complicated, but when you insert the quantities of the material under investigation, you just have a constant here. And here this shows the result. This is the alloy I showed you earlier on. And this is the data points here, and this is a prediction. I've just shown you, you see, the S-curve is there. And although the original prediction was second power, these two mathematical manipulations raised also the power because the linear part was tilted a little bit. And so then this here resulted to a little bit of fiddling around. Steel here. This was the another the heat affected zone of the Wellberg steel here. Hübner, HSPHE, this here. And once again, the picture you saw earlier on, and this is other examples. What I want to show you comes later. Sorry. Here. This is a picture showing the steps, the blunted crack tip. Here you see the scale 10 microns. I had a fracture surface like this here, and the view direction was almost parallel in the scanner electron microscope. And I measured the step height here. It's very tedious because you have to go along the complete crack front and do the measurements. You have to focus, refocus. This is very tedious, but in the end you're happy that you have the results. Okay, yesterday I also showed you this equation for the CTOD, which is shows the size effect in the form of A over W here, and the little bit confusing functions here. And once again, the diagram that I showed you, you see the size effect can be quite substantial. This is infinitely wide sheet, and these are finite widths. And I use this to calculate or to determine critical CTOD values for panels that I had tested. Using this formula, for example, test on A over W equal to 50%, then I calculated the toughness using the formula, and then I predicted the diagram, the somewhat strange diagram that was hard to understand yesterday when I said you have a width effect. This is a narrow specimen, 60 millimeters. This is a wide plate with 600 millimeters, and the structural component may be even wider here. And you see there is really an effect, a size effect with respect to toughness behavior, ductility behavior of a test piece or structural component. It can be made ductile, it can be made brittle. It is brittle down here, it's ductile, and it gets up here. And so that's what we have. I have these crosses here are for the 60 millimeters, and this was the prediction for the 60 millimeters. So the 60 millimeters wide specimen just broke at the yield load. And then I did the same study for these materials, 1, 2, 3, 4 materials, and I compared the calculated with the experimental values, and you see it looks it's almost perfectly on the one-to-one line. Now, The models, the brittle fracture models that I explained to you yesterday, what Jörg Behrens did together with David Reed at NIST in Boulder. This represents one half of the fracture surface. You see here, this is the fracture surface, and this is shown over here. These are all the data points he found, the brittle fracture initiation points. They are clustered here towards the center line, of course, what you may expect. And this here is the stress distribution. This was from finite element by David Tracy, finite element solution here. And at that time, people didn't know anything about the peak, which I introduced later here. And here you see the distribution of the size of the cluster of these, the distribution of the distance of the brittle fracture initiation points from the back front, and then, like I said, the model lives on this assumption: brittle fracture occurs at the stress peak ahead of the crack tip. This is what I also showed yesterday. Made it a bit nicer. So this is the cleavage stress, and this is the stress distribution. And when you go down with the temperature, yield strength increases, and so does the stress peak here. And the red stress distribution just touches the transition temperature. Transition temperature is reached. But I said also this is not sufficient. It is a necessary but not a sufficient condition. And then comes the next thing. Here is the bad guy, the particle. And this is low temperature. By too low an applied force, applied load, I increase the load. And finally I hit the bad guy, and then I can predict the J interval at fracture for a given, for the transition temperature. This is supposed to be the transition temperature, and at the transition temperature I can have different J values depending on the location of the critical particle. Okay, this gives me the scatter. This gives the scatter here. This is the model, and we'll see in a moment that it's kind of true. And now this, I also told you that we did measurements in a hot cell. So these are, what is this here? This is the cleavage stress. Or measured on many specimens, non-irradiated ones. You see there is variability, there is even scattered material properties at a given temperature. And here it's minus 196 degrees Celsius. And so this is variability for the non-irradiated specimens. And then we did irradiated specimens, Charpies, and the determination of the cleavage stress was done indirectly. We didn't do tensile tests, but in the Charpie specimen you have a stress peak also ahead of the notch. We had finite element results for the stress peak, and at the stress peak we calculated determined the cleavage stress, and also stress strain tests in the hot cell. These are the non-irradiated specimens, and these are the irradiated specimens. And you see there is some effect of irradiation on RP 0.2, and quite an effect on the cleavage stress. Now we have everything together, and here's the results. These are the fracture toughness results for the non-irradiated material. You see the scatter here. Yesterday I had more results because I had more specimen sizes and MTs, but these are just the CTs of a given size. Still there's a substantial scatter which is quite ugly. And at higher temperatures, here it's the beginning of stable break extension. You know, here, from here on we have an R curve. And this gives the prediction of the transition curve, of the transition temperature. And the prediction is not a single temperature, but it is a variation. Okay, due to the scatter we have the material properties. Wow, that's real life. And you see, I mean, I'm not bothering you too long. You can, please to get wet outside. And here, this scatter band here sits exactly on where the actual transition occurred. And the same here for irradiated specimens. And I can tell you, tests in hot cells is one of the most awful things you have to do, because everything is done remote, by remote control. You know, you have a hot cell and you have manipulators and you have to attach strain gauges, displacement gauges, whatever, you know, and sometimes they fall down and you start again. It is, fortunately, I've never done it myself. So this simple model worked quite well. And now, stop here. This is part of my presentation that I gave last year. And this brings me to an end. I have no slides. Thank you for your patience. When I say it orally, thank you for your attention, for your patience, and for not falling asleep. At least I haven't seen anybody falling asleep. Maybe there are people that are very clever who can fall asleep in an upright position and nobody realizes. I was told by my father, who served as a soldier in the army in World War II, he said we were so tired as soldiers we could even fall asleep while we were marching. Hopefully this won't happen to anybody of you. So thank you again, and see you tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. Bye.